Hi, welcome to Eye Openers. I'm your host, Brittany Drozd, and each week I bring you insightful conversations with entrepreneurs that will help you make more money, become a strong leader, and build a business culture that you're proud of. Grab your coffee and let's dive in. I recently came back from a trip to Alaska, and I was so moved by what I experienced both on the trip and within myself that I wanted to share my thoughts to my email list. And I got such an overwhelming response from everybody that I thought it was important to share with you guys too. And since it is chock full of eye-opening moments and experiences, I thought it is only appropriate that this be on Eye Openers. So I hope you find this just as insightful or eye-opening as some of my readers. I just returned from my week-long retreat in Juneau, Alaska. This trip had been on my bucket list for some time, and I was really looking forward to it, but not in an excited and anticipatory way, more of an I desperately need space kind of way. You see, I used to regularly travel and take time away from my work, take time to seek adventure, do things I love, go places that inspire me. But I hadn't taken a trip like that in over a year. If you've been following my story, you know I moved across the country in July 2021 from Providence, Rhode Island to Santa Barbara, California. This move really did me in. I had naively underestimated the toll this move would take on my energy, my marriage, and my spirit. When I shared how I was feeling with a friend about the recent move, she said, "Give yourself a year." I scoffed at that idea, thinking, yeah, sure. How about 3 months and I'll be back to my old self? Well, the verdict is in. She was 100% right. It took a year for me to feel like I've got a handle on my life again, and I can recognize my old self. But before this trip, I would tell you I was 75% of myself. I got the last 25% of myself back in Alaska this past week. Here's what Alaska taught me about living. Number 1, everybody needs to take breaks. Breaks from work, extended breaks if you can. Breaks from your kids, breaks from your routine, even breaks from your city and the house you live in. You know, one thing I thought about moving to Santa Barbara was that I wouldn't feel that desperate draw to have an escape. You know, people say, love where you live and you won't need to escape. But the truth is that we all need to escape. We need to escape the monotony of routine. Well, even though routine serves us so much, breaking it also provides insight. It also provides these eye-opening moments. Number 2, breathe really fresh air. The second I exited the airport in Juneau, I got 5% of myself back when I breathed in the incredibly fresh air. It was life-giving. It was organic. It literally awakened my body. Number 3, you can't see your blind spots until you make a move. And again, while I'm a huge proponent of routine and systems in your life and your business, it can limit your perspective and potential if you don't regularly do a blind spot check. Coming to Alaska showed me all the things that I wasn't doing in my daily life. So let this be a reminder to you. Well, I felt I had a really strong and do have a really strong, morning routine, evening routine, things that really served me in my life. We don't know what we don't know. We can't see what we can't see. So switching it up in any way will allow you to see some of your own blind spots. Number 4, keep dreaming. When I stopped dreaming, a part of me started to die. Dreaming lets us be creative, lets our brains wander and feel vibrant. Do it to stay alive. And so I was so stressed and overwhelmed during our move, and then was so focused on just rebuilding it brick by brick, that I stopped thinking beyond that day, that moment. I stopped letting myself think of things so far beyond where I was because it felt out of my grasp. But the truth is that if I had kept dreaming more often, it would have given me that lifeblood to keep moving. It would have actually added energy and vibrancy to myself. Instead of feeling like something was out of reach or that I was longing for it, it would have given me more of that energy to keep going. So keep dreaming. Number 5, move your body. Every time I feel stuck, movement is the answer. But there's one key distinction. Don't move out of force. Move to create space. When we are bulldozing our way to something, it can feel hard, it can feel arduous. When we move with ease and grace, it feels good. So this is like the difference between people who exercise because they ate bad food or something versus thinking of exercise as a way to take care of yourself. Just those difference in mindsets and intentions feel different when you're doing the actual activity. So make sure you're coming from the right place when you do move your body. Number 6, touch a tree. I touched a lot of trees, mosses, and bodies of water in the last week. It feels good to be more connected to nature. Slowing down to appreciate a tree is available to us all and can make you feel more grounded and centered in your day. Now, this is something that I also do when I'm at home in Santa Barbara. Of course, the trees look much different than they do in Alaska, but they are beautiful. All these components of nature are beautiful in their own way. And we are too. We are a part of nature and we are beautiful in our own way. And stopping to appreciate some of that really reminds us how we are all connected and all tied in. And that can be so grounding. Number 7, create space in your mind. We fill our days with alerts, messages, emails, news, and endless inputs. Make the space to be bored. Shut down the inputs. Give your brain a break. Many of you won't do this because you're scared. What will I do? What will come up? Those questions stop us. But when it feels edgy, when you're not sure what will happen, that's exactly what you should lean into. That is your growing edge. What would happen if you leaned into that right now? Shut down those inputs. Explore what's in your mind and where your mind goes when it's free to wander. Number 8, plan your next trip now. I read that anticipating your next trip is 60% of the fun. That's right, you get 60% of your joy from just looking forward to it. So plan it now, book it now, start reaping the benefits immediately. So as of this recording, we're 6 months out from Christmas and I have a trip in my mind, and instead of what I would typically do, which is just wait and make sure like life pans out and we're still going to go, I'm going to book this trip now because I'm going to look forward to it. And I'll just buy the damn trip insurance in case things don't pan out. But really getting excited about it, talking about it, thinking about it, daydreaming about it, all of those things will add to my days and my weeks in advance of the trip. So I'm going to do it. And you should too. I also see so many clients, I talk to so many people who don't do this, who don't in advance plan their time off, make space for the most important things. And guess what? Your calendar gets full. It gets full of busyness. It gets full of crap. If you make the space first, if you make the intention for it, you can fill it with what you really want to have happen in your life. Number 9. Find your edge. So much of what holds us back is fear of being uncomfortable. but discomfort is where the growth happens. It's time to decide if you want to be safe or grow. Finding your edge will show you who you really are. I love this Brené Brown quote that says, choose courage over comfort. And this pops up for me in so many ways. There are things I'm changing in my business right now, especially how I go about connecting with new clients. And it's totally an edge for me, but I know that it's where I'm meant to grow into. And I just have this quote up as a reminder to choose courage over comfort as I pursue it, because ultimately it helps me grow. And that's how I got here to begin with. So I want to keep growing. Number 10, be amazed. Be in awe of something. Be inspired. Be touched. Let yourself feel these sensations to remind yourself that you're alive and that the world is beautiful and full of possibilities. If you're anything like me, it's so easy to just blast through a day of errands and obligations and routines and all these things you have to do or are supposed to do. And when you take a moment, give yourself the space to stop and just be truly in awe, of anything, of your beautiful kids, of this life you've created for yourself, of this career I essentially made up for myself. It is amazing. So to stop and be in awe of it and let yourself be amazed is a beautiful, beautiful feeling and experience. I highly recommend it. So here's my bottom line at the end of this list of 10 things. Don't wait until you have the time, the money, the space, the employees, the processes, the systems. Basically, insert any excuse here to take the adventure you've been dreaming of. Those things will never come. You will never feel like you have enough or you're ready enough. Or if they do, you'll just find another excuse not to pursue your dream. Point is, don't take the trip when you feel ready, because taking the trip will bring so much back into your life. And that's when you feel ready. It has a massive return on investment. Now, I want to leave you guys with some of these thought-provoking questions. Think about which number on the list really spoke to you, what really resonated with you, which was like, oh, she's talking right to me. How did she know? Dig into that, like rip out a page of your journal right now, find a piece of paper, or just voice record something. Like dig into what that is about and why it's gnawing at you and why it stood out. And if you feel so inclined, send it to me. I'd love to hear about how this spoke to you and what you're thinking about. Thanks so much for listening.
Thanks for joining us this week on Eye Openers. Make sure to visit BrittanyDrose.com/podcast for this week's show notes. And if you found value in today's episode, I would so appreciate you giving us a rating on Apple Podcasts or share it with a friend. Also, don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. This all helps to support the show.